Fifth exotic greetings, give thanks, blessed love. Anik, how are you doing, beloved? Long time no see. You in St. Lucia? Mm. Secuted Alexander, long time, eh? Blessed love, honorable. Give thanks, Rastafari. Welcome. Love, love, love. Yes, brethren, give thanks. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. These days I'm suspecting that YouTube doing something with my account. Give thanks for all those of you who are coming in. Rastafari. Give thanks for life. Prophet Sahu. Kindred Spirit. Blessed love. Essence Rose. Give thanks for life and a mighty life. Give man who give thanks for all good things amongst us sent from Zion above. So we praise for it for all his love. Give thanks for all those of you who are here with us this evening. Give thanks for all those of you who have taken the time out to just sit down in your living rooms and your dining rooms and your sitting rooms, on your phones, in your gardens and your patios, burning a chalice, sipping on the steamers. Give thanks for all good things among us are definitely sent from Zion above. So we praise Farai for his divine love. Definitely we give thanks for this opportunity as we are live once more. And this evening I just wanted to, even before we get into the program, that we are, as you know, we are definitely we are in a space whereby we are in the time of praying and fasting. Right now we are in the time of what people call the Lent season, which actually begins after the first new moon of the month of March. So on Wednesday was the first new moon, and they call it what they call the Ash Wednesday. All right, that's the first Wednesday after the new moon there. So Ash Wednesday, was basically the beginning of the Lent period, a time for praying and fasting. So normally the Catholics call it Lent, but as Bobo Shanti and other spiritual people around the world, they take that little opportunity, that little time out to just fast and pray. It's very important to fast and pray. Fasting and praying is critical. It is something that we have to do. So it is important that we learn to just to deal with your spirit. So when you fast from food, from physical food, what you are doing is that you are giving your spiritual side an opportunity to actually grow. So fasting is critical, and even in St. Lucia right now, we have lots of violence. Last night, even on Saturday evening, two police officers who actually shot. They were not in uniform, but they were doing some cash escorting, and they were shot. One of them perished. All condolences to his family. And also everyone that actually died via what you call gun violence. And every life is significant. And the what we must understand in times like that, there will be that level of aggression whereby people want revenge and all these different type of thing. And this is the same type of attitude within our society. So when it is that we are here and we are talking to about the youngsters in the community, and we're saying that oh God, son, stop the war and stop this and stop that, and then and the reason why there is war in the community is as a result of revenge. People just want to take revenge because their brethren was killed, the sister was killed, somebody that they love was killed. So when it is that as we fully understand the significance of what the police actually represents, the police represents that level of security. So it's service for everyone. So it's not just about security when you're talking about for only one set of people. It's security for every single person. So when it is that you see our youngsters now have come to the point whereby, I mean, if it is that they went on a robbery, you know. And mind you, just the first day before, I was in a conversation with some officers, and I was telling them that all of us need to take a personal interest in the level of crime in the country, because what's happening is that soon the nozzle of the gun is going to be turned right onto the police also, because the society that we are living in is a society whereby there is no level of respect. Nobody respects the law, nobody respects law and order, nobody respects anyone. The brethren and them don't have no love for themselves, they have no love for their own little brethren, because most of the murders that happens within the country, these are people who used to know one another. That's people who sat down together, drinking together, playing together, singing together, laughing together, and for whatever little reason, for whatever level of discontentment, for whatever argument that actually arise between these people, that the way that they choose to actually resolve the differences, to settle the differences, is through gun violence, by killing one another. And most times I know people, we've been dealing with conflict mediation for a while. Okay, we've been dealing with conflict mediation for a while. All right, and most times what you really see is that sometimes you see two man that's be like in like there have situations whereby we've been in, and you have two youths that when you speak to this one, they'll tell you that they'll kill this one. When you speak to that one, they tell you that they'll kill this one. And given the opportunity, or left to navigate these wide road of destruction, they would eventually kill one another, and somebody else will kill the other, and the ultimate end of everything would be death, but through intercession, whereby you are able to actually speak to these people, to these young youths, and to actually even give them a sense of understanding, a sense of self, a sense of just wanting to actually live. These people there now, there are people that I'm telling you that want to kill one another, want to shoot one another, want to stab, want to chop, want to do whatever, want to what the most horrible thing that you could think about. And what happens is that after reasoning, after a little moment, after a little time elapsed, these people that becomes the best of friends. So you must understand that most times when you see like people are in argument, people are angry, people are upset, people are all type of things, it is very important that we critically analyze, that we check ourselves and we understand, well, look, any decision that we make when we are upset, any decision made with anger, any decision made in a spirit of hatred, any of these decisions whatsoever, it is very important that we check ourselves, that we deal with it upfully. We have to deal with these things there upfully. We basically have to deal with it in a manner whereby we are dealing with the whole. How can we stop the whole situation? How can we solve the situation? How can we stop the situation? How can we deal with the thing in a manner whereby we could bring peace and equity and justice? So when you listen to the politicians, I was reading like a comment, an article online, and then the prime minister and the minister of the leader of the opposition, and they were both actually sending um and I was just reasoning with some people, and I was reading they sent condolences to the police and them family and everything, and that's nice. And then the comments, what was said by the prime minister was that he reaffirms his loyalty and pledge to actually give the police every tool necessary to actually fight crime. And I think that here then lies one of the biggest problems, that we believe that building prisons and giving police guns and vans and vehicles are the true elements that's going to help to solve the crime that we have in our communities. One of the biggest issues is a lack, and is like poverty. So even if we had a small prison in town, they built a bigger prison. In next to no time, that prison was filled. So the prison that we have now is overflowing, right? And we have more prison, you have more police, you have more vans, you have more guns, you have more technology, you have more everything. Yet still you have more crimes, you have more guns on the street, you have more violence, right? So why is it then that there is not that level of that genuine long-term program whereby you could organize long-term programs with the youths within the communities to actually take them from that space whereby they are soulless, that space whereby they have no care, that space whereby they don't love themselves, they don't love their brother, they don't care about their mothers. Growing up, I got myself involved in trouble. you know um Growing up, I mean, when I was probably about when I was in A level, that is college, I began, like, hanging around with different types of people, you know um well, I man always smoke herb and be a bit delinquent in my school studies and all these different type of things. And when I was about in like the year 2000, 2001, I was associated with certain type of characters within the community, because even if I was like an intelligent young man, right? And my intention was that, okay, I am a Rasta man, I'm growing my locks, but I was growing up in a state of mind, right? In that time, I'm talking to you about in that time, in the year 2000. I'm growing my locks, 1999, 1998. I'm growing my locks, right? I am changing my core values, right? And then what I'm doing now is that I am becoming like an enemy of the state, literally, because at that time, whenever you grow your locks, you literally become like an enemy of the state. You become a target for the police, you become a target. And what happened at that time is that there was a high level of frustration. There was a high level of I would say even hatred towards law enforcement. But yet still I was raised up in a home whereby my cousin, because my grandmother raised me up, and with a cousin, and that cousin of mine, was a police officer. So after school, he literally went into the police force and he was a police officer. And then I myself, after my studies and everything, I grew my locks and I trod the way of the Rastafari. And even if I grew up with police officers within my home, a police officer within my home, there was still that, as a Rastafari, there was still that kind of feeling within myself that the police was my enemy. And just because of, as a youngster, how I was personally treated, when I grade my locks, times you get pulled over, probably try to give you a thing or try to knock you. But because of my level of intelligence, it's not like my mind was not based upon on allowing anybody to actually take my rights or try to violate me, because I was an intelligent man. I was like an outstanding student. I was like, on honor rolls, and I used to be like top in my class and all this different type of stuff. So even if, like, my physical portrait on the outside wasn't that tie and that little kind of look, I was very, very intelligent as a young man. So I was able to actually hold myself up to that level, to that estate. But yet still, my affiliation was with some very problematic and troublesome people within the society. Until then, I got arrested. There was this big bank robbery, a robbery of a credit union, and then I got arrested because they said that I was affiliated with the people, and I remember my particular experience, right? My experience was one whereby, you were a young man, and I was at medical school at that time, and then being a young man at medical school, and everything, and then you were arrested because you are associated with people that police say just actually robbed a bank or a credit union, and because I was intelligent, then I was looked upon as the person that was like the mastermind of the whole crime and all type of things. And then people was just looking at me, that the whole community starts to look at you in a way and say, well, boo, boy, this man there is as a youth man, I was as a youth, as a young youth, look at you as if you could be the worst thing possible, right? I remember spending like 3 days in a cell. I was arrested before that. Probably when I just started growing, I had my looking keys and thing, and I was smoking a little spliff. At that point in time, I was not steaming. I was smoking spliff at that time, probably 1999, 2000, or them kind of years there. And basically, I was arrested for a little ganja that I had, a little spliff, because I used to always believe, well, I was fighting the system, so if cannabis, ganja, I smoke my ganja anyway, whatever, and I drive and whatever. But I was young and naive, and I was very aggressive in my way of fighting the system. And because people don't look at me and believe I was always a priest, and I priest Kailash is always priest Kailash, and always was that person that was in society and everybody deals with him in a particular type of manner. No, and I remember being arrested, and I did know the people that they had arrested for the bank robbery, and it's people that I was affiliated with also, and it is that from that particular point of time in my youth, I always used to be affiliated with the so-called people that society could reject, right? So not being that I am a college, I go to secondary school, college, and then in university studying at medical school, and my affiliation was I still had these people on the white side, meaning that the people that people would consider violent and murderers and killers and all these different aspects. I always felt that needed to actually see how is it that my relationship with them could actually help to benefit them. And a lot of these people are people that, as I did these times, I was also very strong on my spiritual journey as a Rastafari. So in my interaction with a lot of these people, right, our interaction used to be Sabbath keeping, praying, chanting, reading your Bible and chanting your psalms and doing these type of things, to the extent whereby my affiliation came to the point whereby, because I was affiliated with these people, I was locked up in a prison cell, and locked up and in the prison cell, being accused of being a mastermind in what they refer to as a robbery, a credit union or a bank robbery, as they would say. And I remember being in the cell, and I was fasting. I was fasting at that point. I just fasting, and being in the cell, nobody, none of the so-called people that always, because I was like a popular youth, everybody used to come by my home. Everyone used to actually check me. I was kind of the youth man that within the community that people used to check, and people used to come. Enough of them used to come for Sabbath and used to come and pray and read Psalms and all different aspects. And when I was arrested, I imagine I'm arrested and I'm in the cell, right? For 3 days, I'm in the cell. And not one of these fellas ever came to see me. Not one of them came to see how I was doing. Not one person came and checked how I was doing. Not one person came and asked me how you doing, And I remember the police actually taking me out, and there were several miracles that happened, several like real mystic things that happened within that period of time in my life. That time in my life where I reached that point whereby I had to make a decision, right? And I remember going and they bringing me out, and they bringing me underneath the bushes and saying, "Where you put the money? Where you put the money? The money that they rob." And I did not know where the money was, because I knew nothing about no money, and no, up to this day I have never benefited from that whatever crime that they wanted to actually put upon me as a young man. I never benefited anything at all from that, right? And I remember in the cell, I just used to be just chanting and praying and fasting, not eating anything. And I'm saying that no one came to see me. No one came to see me. And then we were in this like space, and they brought me into this bush, and the intention of the people was probably that people was there. The people came and said, "Boy, they're trying to go and kill the youth, because at that time when police would come and thing. But I must say, I was arrested. I was never beaten. I was never punched. I was never kicked. Nothing. I was divinely guided because I was chanting my psalms and doing my thing and organizing myself. And I was handcuffed, literally handcuffed, and walking through the bushes. And they asking me, where is the money? And I'm saying, well, I don't know nothing about no money. I have no money. I don't know nothing about no money. I have no money for nobody. I don't know anything about that. Right? And what is happening? They're trying to actually take me and bring me into the bushes, and I'm chanting and I'm praying. Right? And guess what happened? Can you hear me? Instagram, I don't know. Somebody was trying to call. I don't know. Can you still hear me clearly? So a caller was trying to come in and I ended. Enough times when people try to call, the it's muted. You see, that's what happens when people try to call during the program. It's muted. Let me see if I can get that sound back. I don't know how to get that sound back. No sound still. Okay, all right. I don't know how to get the sound back. Are you getting the sound now? Can't hear you. Still no sound. I don't know how to get the sound back. Whenever people try to call during the program, this always happens. All right. Still no sound? Still no sound? Sound? Okay, I'm gonna restart the live. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna restart the live. I'm just gonna restart the live. Yeah, so this was the time in my life whereby I myself was just living, in that kind of a realms whereby I didn't really understand plenty things, and I am there walking in the bushes with a handcuff, right? And I was in a very high space spiritually, meaning that I the space that I was in was a space whereby I would say um, I used to basically, how do you call that? Not just praying and fasting. I was like really, really in a high meditative state to the extent that I was able to really be in tune with myself. I was able to really like be able to um, be in touch with my spiritual self. And what happened is that at that point in time, I was just walking under handcuff, and that there were these two police officers. I'm in this bush, right? I'm in this bush walking, and then my hands like this, and I'm chanting, and then the handcuff literally just like open up. I don't believe in magic. Probably didn't put it properly, but whatever happened is that the handcuff actually just opened up, and then the two officers were their back was actually facing me, and and they never knew what happened. And I told them, you see, if I was a violent man, you see, I don't deal with violence. You all want to have me as if like I'm the worst kind of man, and have me on the bush with all type of energies trying to see what, probably, if you all could see how you could harm me or do something to me. But I was really in some high level of praying and fasting and chanting some serious psalms in that time there. Right? So even to the extent that after the 3 days, I spent 3 days in that cell. I went in and I came out on the Friday for Sabbath. And when I came out, and I got home, my mother was literally just crying and crying and crying. Now, growing up, now this is one of the key things that I'm saying all that to say, I'm giving that my part of my story, of my glory, and it's not a history that I am ashamed of. I'm not ashamed of being arrested. I'm not ashamed of being associated with so-called criminals that people would be called. I'm not ashamed of the journey I went to. I'm through. I'm not ashamed of any of these things. I have no regret for the journey. It's not like I'm there regretting that I did that, or regret I was arrested, or regret that whatever happened. I fully embrace my past. I'm fully at peace with my past, right? And I give thanks for it. I glorify it. So when I look into my past, it's not like it's something that somebody, okay. So some people will try and hide and say, well, if you but you see that on TV that you were arrested. You see that on TV, you were in jail. Because remember, Instagram. I'm not just on Instagram and on YouTube. I'm live on national television, and I'm here telling you that I was jailed. I was arrested. I was in the dungeon, and they were associating me with a robbery of a financial institution, which is like a huge crime. And for 3 days inside there, right, I was just fasting and chanting psalms like loud, right? So I was not just, I would say, just there praying softly. I was chanting, I was chanting loud. I was chanting, and yeah. So when I came out, and I went home, and when I entered into that time that I was in medical school, so I had another apartment, another house I was living in, which was about a mile and a half away from where my mother was living. But I went to my mother's house, and then my mother was just there crying, you know. And even if, as a Rastafari, I had never eaten my mother's food before, and she was the only person who actually boiled some Edos, right? She boiled some Edos, and then she actually sent me a bowl with just Edos. Like Edos is like a tuber, right? And some coconut oil. I remember that because she knows that I don't eat anything. So she just boiled some Edos and sent me some Edos. None of the so-called friends came to see me. None of the so-called Rasta people that used to come at my house to worship came to see me. No one actually came to see me, right? And at that time, the Empress was in Antigua, right? And I was in St. Lucia. And no one actually came to check on me except my mother, And when I got home, that time my grandmother had already passed. Because my grandmother passed in 2021, 2020, 2001 or 2002, right? While I was in medical school in Cuba. So that was like about a 2003, 2004, I'm talking. And I was like, I entered into the sitting room, and there is this woman like crying, and we must understand that as youths, I never grew up with my mother. I grew up with my grandmother. So like I'm very detached from my mother, my biological mother, the woman who actually I came out of a womb, right? So very detached from this woman. And from that point, my mother not once had ever told me that I love you or this. I grew up with my grandmother, I don't have, even if like my mother, I know that's my mother and we have a relationship, but it was never a kind of relationship whereby to say, well, you have a mother and then you are communicating with this mother and you all are always reasoning, and your mother hugs you and kisses you or tells you that she loves you and caresses you and all these different things. And I'm talking from the perspective of the youth, because you must understand that when our prime ministers and our ministers say, well, they're going to empower the police and they're going to give the police all the resources. Yes, you're supposed to empower the police, and empowering the police doesn't mean that you give them resources to fight crime. You're supposed to also empower them in a way whereby their salaries is going to be good enough that they don't become corrupt. You understand? So you're supposed to empower them that the amount of money they get for their paycheck is not so little bit that somebody could pay them a little money to get them corrupt, because they have plenty of crooked cops, right? And empowering also means that you provide them, you know, with proper mortgage, because of the job of a police officer is a sacred thing. A police officer is supposed to be guaranteeing that all of your constitutional rights are not violated. They're supposed to serve and protect, right? So the police is the man that's supposed to ensure that if it is that something happened, they're going to go through due process and find out who's wrong, who's right, and deal with it. And at the end of the day, you're going to have justice via the judicial system. Okay, that's what it's supposed to be like. So empowering the police is not empowering them to fight crime. Empowering them is to empower them to remain honest, and empower them to be able to actually love what they're doing. Empower them to be able to know that their job is one of the most sacred and divine and godly jobs in the world. You are the one that's supposed to be ensuring that the innocent is protected. That's your job. To protect the innocent, right? To protect the weak from the strong, right? And to make sure that there is equity, to make sure that the rights of every individual. Okay? Still not hearing the sound? Probably it's your thing. Are we hearing the sound properly? Is it only Elaine what is not hearing sound? You know, so the rights of the officer supposed to basically be the one that maintains that level of law and order, right? And be within the community, right? And have that level of respect. Okay? Now, as a youth man, as a youth that have never, you've never been hugged by your mother to say, well, your mother have hugged you or tell you that they love you. You've never been kissed by them. You've never been shown that level of love and affection by the people that actually brought you up into the world, right? And I was brought up with my grandmother. I wasn't brought up with my father and my mother, right? So my father figures were my uncles and my cousins. These were my father figures. And also the people within my community, the people that I would most of the time actually mention, speak of, people in my community that I do like role models, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, why my mother is crying so much? So for the first time, remember, I'm already in university here. I'm already in university. And the trajectory of my life is one whereby I have now been incarcerated 3 days in a cell for suspicion of being involved in a huge bank robbery. Okay? That was successful. And they cannot find the people or whatever. They arrest some people and whatever. But like the money is gone and this and that, and the people arrest me as a young man, and then they feel, well, it's me that have the brains and it's me and thing, and then I've been in the jail for 3 days. You know, they interrogated me and I'm just there. I don't know what happening. And then I'm going home now, right? I'm in that cell for 3 days. Nobody, that's the so-called people who was always around me, not one came to check me. And I'm going home now, seeing my mother crying. I never knew that my mother loved me as a youth man, right? I never knew that. So I'm growing up. I'm at the age of probably 21, 22, right? And I never knew that my mother loved me. I never understood that. I never felt that, to know, well, look, that I am cared for, I am loved by my mother, until I was in a calamitous situation whereby I was arrested, and then now I'm seeing my mother like struggling and crying and her head tied and she's weeping and all manners of things. So I'm saying this to say, with all my so-called intelligence, all my education. I had already gone through college, secondary school, like top scholar, right? And bam, 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 man. Eh? Right? And all these different things. And then yet still, I am not aware that my mother loves me. Right? So, there were two, like, drastic realizations in that point in my life. Number one, that the so-called people that are around you, none of them really care about you. When push comes to shove and you get into trouble, none of these people less stands up for you. It's like the Christ figure. Like Christ was crucified and everybody turned their back on Christ. Right? It's only Mary and Mary the mother of Christ, Mary Magdalene and Mary, Martha, it's the woman who came at the foot of the cross and checked for the man, and, and Simon the Syrian who helped him to carry his cross on the hills of Calvary. Right? But nobody cared. And I'm seeing that my mother, for the first time, expressing sadness because I was involved in an activity whereby I was arrested and I was jailed. That actually, for me, that was a moment of realization. So, if I, that's supposed to be educated at that point in my life already, if I, that's supposed to have a level of intelligentsia, have a higher than normal IQ, right? If I was not able to actually see that my mother cared for me, do you imagine that so many of the youths out there on the streets, so many of the children out there, that their mothers and their fathers have never told them that they love them? I'm talking about the reality, and I don't think, it's not like I'm hiding from I'm sharing my life with you. I'm telling you what happened to me on national TV, on Instagram, on YouTube, and I mean, you hearing it. I mean, come on, right? This happened to me. That was my point of realization that what? All that man you walking around with, that man already yet, yes. When you get yourself in trouble, everybody flee, right? And then the person who actually cares for you is your mother. Look at how sad your mother is. And my mother is crying and she's sad. And at that point, I made a decision that I would never make my mother cry again. I will not get involved. I will not get involved in any activity that would actually make my mother weep and moan like that. Because I was already 22 and I never knew my mother loved me. I had never received a hug from my mother. I grew up with my grandmother. Right? I used to converse with my father, but my father was, I never got that type of fatherly attention from my father. And I'm supposed to be a brilliant person. I get scholarships to go to university. Yeah, I'm supposed to be brilliant. Yet still, as a brilliant person, intellectually capable, high IQ, right? Great grades, everything. Yet still, I never received that level of affection from my parents. So can you imagine outside there in the world that we are, how many of these youths get any level of attention? What if that they never did good at school? What if that they never passed any exams? They look like they're hopeless and they have no level of education, nothing at all. If I, with all my education, went through this and had to witness my mother weeping and crying because I was arrested, to know that my mother cared,
So when we are speaking about the whole aspect of the youths and crime and violence and all these different aspects, we really have to look deep, deep, deep down into our core, the fabric of our society, and examine ourselves critically and see how complicit we are as individuals to the state that our society is right now. So our problems won't be solved by giving more guns to the police. Our problems won't be solved by giving more vehicles to the police. Our problems won't be solved like that. So when the crime happens and then a politician comes out and say, well, we reaffirm our commitment to provide the police with everything necessary to deal with crime, it is that same attitude that actually isolates the youth, the children, that most of them never got a hug from their mother, never got a hug from their father, never got an I love you from their mother or an I love you from their father. They never had a grandmother like I had a grandmother who showed me some love. So I knew that my grandmother loved me. Yeah, so she passed on, right? So nobody else really care about me, right? I had to learn through tragedy that my mother actually cared, right? So how is it that we are then going to strategize as a people to say, well, look, how are we going to connect? How are we going to connect realistically to the youth and them outside there that believes that nobody cares? I'm telling you that I never knew my mother cared. I'm telling you, and I was not a dunce. I never knew my mother cared about me. Until I was arrested and I was never charged. I was just arrested. It's not like I was charged and went into court. I never went to court. I was never charged for the crime. But I was arrested. And I learned that my mother loved me because of that. And when I saw the tears of my mother and the weeping and the mourning and what for whatever reason that she was crying, that tore at my heart. I said to myself that from that day, I made a commitment with the Creator. I signed the contract with the Creator. And I told the Creator that take me out of this calamity, Rastafari. And I will never get myself involved with any level of criminal activity or compromise myself via association with people that deal with such. And that was it. My life just changed. I actually left St. Lucia, went to another medical school in Antigua with the Empress, and all the rest is like glory. I'm telling you. So imagine that you are in a medical school and then the police is pulling up and then coming and look for you, and then the dean and everybody is watching because what the police say, they say they're going to embarrass me. They say, well, if you don't say who did it, I'm going to embarrass you. We're going to come and destroy your medical school career. So they came twice to the university I was going to and picked me up. And I mean, it was embarrassing. You were a youth, and then, police coming and taking you, and then you going into a police vehicle, and it was embarrassing. You're a youth man, and you know. And trust me, I'm sharing this with you with no regret, or I embrace that. I embrace that's my journey. So don't look at me as if, well, like the priest is a man who never got this and never got that and this and that and this and that. I had to go through experiences. You know, I had to go through things to make me realize that people cared. You know, so we're not brought up in a society whereby children are laden with love and then everything is taken care of. No, that's not the reality. On the contrary, our reality is one whereby our parents are afraid to even show us love. Our parents are even afraid to show us love, because you must understand that via slavery, the black man and the black child was beaten and whipped in front of the black woman, to the extent, and just I didn't hate my mother because of that. I had a level of intelligentsia to understand that because of the transatlantic slave trade, Willie Lynch, that my mother, as a black woman, right, the black woman was put in a position whereby her sons and her husband were beaten. They were afraid. Juliet, they were man. Imagine that your husband and your son is beaten in front of you, and I mean like real beat, you know. Massa used to beat the man terrible. Tie a horse to a leg, tie a horse to another leg, and beat the horse and split them apart, and you understand all them type of things, man. So the woman with the woman, because that Massa knew what she loved and used what she loved against her. So the Massa knew that the woman loved her husband and her sons. So Massa made the woman witness the beating, the whipping, the cutting of the arms and the legs and the fingers and the tearing apart of the black man and the black father and the black male child, to the extent that the woman said, well, I don't want Massa to know that I love my children, my sons. So the woman began to hide her love for her husband and her sons, because she don't want that to be used against her, that she don't have to suffer the pain that she had to suffer in that point in time. So when you understand that, so it's not that I was offended or hated my mother. I understood. When I went deep into myself, I said, wow. You know? So from that time until this time, I nurtured a relationship with my mother, to the extent that like right now, I mean, come on, I mean, because, you know, it takes you a level of humility, understanding, to be able to see where you are, where you coming from, what is happening, that you could directly. So I tell myself, he that knows better, do better. If you say that, if you know what a good son is, be a good son. Don't worry about your mother being a good mother or your father being a good father. Be a good son or be a good daughter, and teach your father or your mother how to be a mother or a father to a son like yourself. So I was very deliberate, and initially, when I used to go and hug my mother, she say, oh, move there, move there, move there, move there, move there, move there. Oh. In Saint Lucia, it's Creole. Sortez là, sortez là, sortez là, sortez là, sortez là. Pas toucher, sortez là. And all type of noise and thing. And okay, try to go and hug your. Right now, in the things are getting, but you think we just go and hug and kiss your mother. That was not something that was like normal. Just go and hug your mother and kiss your mother. Oh man, your mother will chase you and push you away and shove you away. So it came from a point whereby I deliberately made a deliberate effort to hug my mother, to express love to my mother, until it became something that was acceptable for her. And she could have feel free to show back that love. So our problem is not an isolated problem. Right? Our problem is not an isolated problem. Right? It is something that is within the fabric of our communities. And it's not only in St. Lucia or Jamaica or Antigua or Dominica. It is for all of us as a people. Right? Yes, my mother did love it. I know she loved it when I did it. Right? It is just that they don't know how to accept it. And I always give thanks for all the positive contributions of so even if like my father was not directly in my life up to a point, I give thanks for all the strong male figures that was always there. From my cousin who became a police, Leonce, right, to my other cousin who was like a teacher and was like ahead of me in school. So I had him as a role model. That's Nigel. And from people like Wayne Ogis, who were like people who go through the system and thing, and they're successful. Mr. Henry, the people who fireman and different people who was there within the community in youth groups and sports groups and different groups who invested time and energy in the youth. Right? There were many upful sisters too. Like Miss Appolina, Apple, we used to call her Apple. These people that invested time and energy in us as youths. So when they became successful, like Dexter, Percy, and these, they were almost same age with me, but a little 2-3 years older, 4 years older. But there were still people I was able to look up to, right? So when it is that they gain a certain level of success, they came and they gave back to the community. So it's our responsibility, all of us, to give back to the community, to be a role model, to be a mentor, to be a guide, a light, a beacon that a youth man could actually follow. Because if I never had these people in my life to witness and to see that it's possible, I would have failed. So it's very important that we understand that the problems that we are facing in our community is not one that killing people or shooting and fighting could solve. It's one that love can solve. How do we begin to reinstitute that self-love? Love your mother, love your son, love your daughter, love your father, love your son, love your daughter, love your children. Love your auntie, love your uncle, love your brothers, love your sister, love your neighbor, love the elders, love love your all the people that you actually communicating with. Love them to the extent that if a little tribulation a little disagreement, something happened, that you won't feel like you have to go and take a gun and just blow off the man's head. Right? And the man, right? He might not even realize, there are people on the same block that they will get a call from a friend. And the friend will say, yeah, why is this? Because what are you doing? Come and check me there, man. And when they come and check them, there is to a nozzle of a gun to get the head blown off. So you have society whereby the so-called people that you're supposed to be trusting and caring for, their minds are just warped. So it's our responsibility. So the crime and the violence that we have right now, the crime and the violence we have right now is as a direct consequence of the lack of input in community. Yes, Dwight, give thanks. This is Dwight Stretch. Dwight was younger than me, but Dwight understands because he was right there. I mean, he knows the whole story. But it is very important that we as a community understand that whatever is happening right now in the nation is a direct result of. It's not something that comes out of the blue. It's as a result of our lack of interest and care for the youths. Well, priest boy, what you say? Whatever. I really don't. To tell you the truth, brother, I can't be bothered by people's stupidity and ignorance and that type of things. Right? I'm a different kind of man, and trust me, that's why I just try to do what I do and try to see how I can help, where I can help, and just do what I can do. Personally, my business, we have about 40-something employees, right? And probably about 7 or 8 of them are people with criminal records. Right? We try our best to take people from off the streets and give them jobs. Because we know that at the bottom line of it is that lots of these people have no economic stability. They have no money. They have nothing at all. They cannot eat. They cannot drink. So if a man tell them, boy, come, look at $50. And man, people kill people for $50. People go and do robbery for $50. Just give them a gun. And then and sometimes they get nothing. Nothing. Just association. Just because they are associated with something. Right? So people kill for association. Not even for money. So they can feel a sense of belonging. So stop blaming the youths. The youths are a byproduct of our society. Our society have created the monsters. So how are we going to deal with it? How are we going to come as a community and say that we are going to begin to strategize and put a plan in effect that for the next 10 years, so right now we are in 2022, that in 2032, that we are going to have things different in St. Lucia. How are we going to strategize? How are we going to organize? What are we going to do as a people? Right? So, we're going to take an intercession and then I'm going to open up the lines. And don't call about headache or toothache or you have fibroids or you have this and you want to know what. No, don't call about that. No, let us contribute towards the topic at hand. And if you have something to say on Instagram or on YouTube, you could type it and I will read it out. Right? If you want to call from an international number, I'm going to put in the international number there for you. What's that number again? 1758. That number there, Ronald, before you go into the intersection. 451. It's 451-9349. And 1758
453-1730. 453-1730. 453-1730. So that's the numbers that you could call. These are two separate numbers. You know, you could call that number there if you want to come in live on the TV here and said we should to give some love to the country because you know sometimes people react, man. So a mosquito come and it bite you on your face and it pop and it just burst out your own face. Not because a mosquito on your face you bust out your own face. You know, you don't do that. You know probably if you come very slow, you could just squash the mosquito. You know, or even if you take out the water that's in the puddles around your house, you could even prevent them from having mosquitoes. So what are the prophylactic things that we could do? What are the things that we could do as a people, right, to know that yes, we're going to work towards uplifting ourselves and taking care of our children, right? So when you come again, and the number is there. Those of you who want to call, you could call for the last 40-minute segment or 28-minute segment of the program. Give thanks for hearing me out. You know, I was just giving you my glory. You know, as I say, well, there's nothing to hide, really, brethren. I am not ashamed of any of these things there. I'll say it again. I'll say it every day. You know, it's me. It's what created me. You know. Give thanks. When you come again, we'll take some calls. Blessed. So, as you could see, we are on intercession here. We are in studio. Is this a real studio? Studio. So, those of you who, you know, in studio lights. So, if you want to call, when you call, you're going to go on the direct number from Panama. Give thanks, Panama, for the love. So send your love and your blessings. Give thanks. Let me. What are you saying, Instagram? What are you saying, YouTube? Talk to me, Raja. Fatherlessness is a cause of the youth not being grounded. You're right. Love is patient. Love is kind. Ashe. Give thanks, Jason. My walker. Sister Aya, how are you doing? Long time I've not heard from you. Dominic Castro, heart of love. Juliet, greetings, honorable priest. Give thanks and family. Canada, oh give thanks. Lisa, give thanks. Bobo Flames, up. Okay, my brother. King Duje, blessed love. Zachary Baptist, blessed love. Give thanks. Deandro Dune, I only miss to learn about Jah. You just learn about yourself, brother. Just learn about yourself. As long as you learn about yourself, that's the most important thing. You know, so just learn about yourself. You know, God is within, you know, so just learn about yourself. I am divine peace, honorable sister. Give thanks, heart of love. Elaine Walters, blessed love, honorable, give thanks. Kalam James, poetry, give thanks. Kalam, how is the eye doing, my beloved brethren? I've not seen you in the poetry slam. You know you are the master, as you call yourself, the grand master. Blessings to all listening from NY, New York. Give thanks, give thanks. Rastafari. So send in your blessings. When we're gonna be taking some calls afterwards. The calls are gonna be coming in. Yeah, love is the question and the answer. Mel King, Vincent, Amo was the name of my grandmother. Ama is love. Give thanks. Vincent Ama said, love is the question and the answer. Vincent Ama, which is love. Okay. Bless up. Juice Works, Juice Bar. B Butter from California. Give thanks. Rastafari. Kunzi Wunzi. What things can people do with snake bite? I'm not answering any of them questions there right now. We ain't talking about that. Blessed love, honorable Nestra 6352. Give thanks, beloved Empress. Heart of love. Give thanks for the blessings. Rastafari. We're not talking about any of them things. We staying on topic. You know, we staying. Send some love to the country. Let's see how we could get things better. You know, send some love for all of our children, all our parents who have never hugged their daughters and their sons. Go and give your daughter a hug. Go and give your son a hug. Go and give your mother a hug. Go and tell your daughter I love you. Go and tell your son I love you. Go and do something. Go and do something. Go and do something to show someone that you love them. And you might not understand how this will impact them. Most of the time, we just hear and we're not actually recognizing, what impact that we could have upon another person, by just giving them a hug and telling them that you love them. Just tell them that you love them. Tell them that you love them. Give them a hug. Blessed love, the Damian Roberts 7. So you could definitely call the numbers there and give us a call and let us know how is it going in your area. Never shy away from love. Give thanks. Cassie Ehos. Sir Gutted Alexander. How on simple words are so effective they are. Iha Preciosa. Blessed love. Empress Natasha, I pray all is well with you and your wonderful family. Give thanks as we are live again and the lines are open up. Please put the numbers on the screen for our people and let that they could actually give us a call, beloved. Mystic Zen, thank you for opening up. A lot of us haven't heard I love you from our parents. Your story brought some clarity, respect. Give thanks. Yeah. So take a time out if you are a mother, man. Go and tell your son that you love them. If you are a father, tell your son that you love him. Tell your daughter that you love them. Give them a hug. Give them a kiss. Give them a little, comfort them and show them some real love, because a lot of the times you don't understand what these simple little things can do. It can give a child perspective. It can give them direction. It can just help them. It can prevent them from doing some evil that they were just contemplating about doing, So the lines are open. I don't know if you all just want to call about bellyache and stomachache, but don't call about no bellyache and stomachache. Everybody heard what we were talking about. Don't pretend like you're not there watching. I know not enough of you are there watching and things. Don't pretend like you're not watching. I know you're watching. A lot of you just want to call about bellyache and stomach ache and all these type of things. Come on. Let's talk about how is it that we could resolve these problems within our society. And how is it that as parents, we could only just stop paying the rent. The pastors, the teachers, the teachers have become so useless. A lot of the teachers in the schools, they're useless. They only just go for a job. I never knew I was intelligent. Queens. Live life loyal to love. Give thanks. Say Gote, pronunciation of my name. Oh, Segote. Oh, pardon me, Honorable Segote. Segote. Give thanks. Yes, Segote. Give thanks. Right. I had a wonderful influence from a teacher, Mr. Charles, Dr. Charles. This is who that made me know I was bright. I never knew I was bright. You must understand that a lot of the things that happen, that we are a product of the influence of everything around us. Nobody really actually comes out of a vacuum. All of us are basically the outcome of our environment, the people, what we are exposed to within society. So I had some good teachers. I had one good teacher. It was like I would say I had one excellent teacher who actually saved me was Mr. Charles. He is with the ancestors right now. Dr. Charles, I give thanks for this man there sincerely. He made me know I was bright. I never knew I was bright. Right, the lines are open up. No calls? Well, if there's no calls, then I think that we will have an early end today. I'll give them up until 10:05, 5 more minutes, and if it is that we don't get any calls, that's it. We won't take it. The number is 1758 451 9349. That's 1758 451 9349. and 1758-453-1730. Blessed love, and spice, the Honorable Priest Kes Westmore Harvey. Give thanks for the earth strong of the beautiful princess. You know, I know that we couldn't come to the party today, but the celebration, but I know that we'll be celebrating next Sunday. Give thanks, our love and peace and prosperity to the divine princess, blessed love, Honorable Empress Desma. Also, love and spice. I don't know if it's Priest Richie that is the spice or Empress Desma that is the spice, and you know the name is the love and the spice, or probably both of you all are the love and the spice. Give thanks. So the numbers are 451934945311730. You know, I've done my part. I have opened up my heart to you. I've poured it out. So those of you who want something to say, I mean, you could call and you could say whatever it is that you want to say. I'm hearing the phone ringing, Ronald. What's happening? Yes, caller, blessed. I'm blessed. Give thanks. Well, you have to come and recite the poem, eh? Yeah, it's a poetry slam. So that is on Thursday. This Thursday coming will be the prize giving ceremony of last month. So the winners of last month will be getting the $1,000, the $500, and the $250. And then on Thursday, if you have a poem, you could come in and recite your poem or chant your poem. You know, so you don't have to just come in. That's this Thursday from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. at the Ubuntu Rastafari Cultural Center. We have the poetry slam, you know, so you could come in and do your vibes. As we say, first prize $1,000, second prize $500, third prize $250. I mean, definitely, this is just our way of just saying, okay, let us stimulate the creativity of our youths, you know, and definitely, you know, I am love and the Empress is spice, diversity. Give thanks, priest. The I is love and the Empress is spice. Give thanks. Yes, blessed. You have a caller? Go ahead, caller. Caller, I'm hearing you. Go ahead. I'm hearing you. Go ahead. I think that caller not hearing us or something, so you could just hang it up. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, blessed. I'm blessed, my sister. What about you? Give thanks. Where you calling from? Oh, Canada. Give thanks, honorable. Thank you, my sister. Thanks for calling and help yourself that you could help others. Give thanks for the call. You're welcome, beloved. Yes, my sister. Good evening to you also. Yes, so give thanks for our sister who called all the way from Canada. I'm not asking about headache or nothing, but you know, I'm just calling for the inspiration to help one another. Yes, number is 451934945311730. Don't be a parasite or mosquito and just sit down and just listen and think and don't believe that you can contribute. Yes, said give thanks. Oh, I'm blessed, my Lord. Give thanks, man. Raz said, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Give thanks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. King James Version. Bible, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. The Moors. Yeah, man. Give thanks, my brother. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Gi- Selassie. Give thanks, Rastabai, man. Rastafari. Give thanks. Love, man. Just give thanks, man, all the time. Rastafari. Give thanks, as our brother is saying, that it's education. We have to re educate our children and make sure that they learn to love themselves, because most of the education we get is colonial education. And that we need to re educate. I'm just repeating for you on Instagram who never heard what they were saying. So give thanks for all those of you who are contributing, all those of you who have called. We are just coming down to the end of the program. This Thursday at the Rastafari Ubuntu, the Ubuntu Rastafari Cultural Center, we'll be having this month's edition of the Poetry Slam, the first round, where you could come in and just recite your beautiful words. Sing them over again to me, wonderful words of life. Words of life and beauty, teach me faith and duty. Beautiful words, wonderful words of life. You know, that's a beautiful song. Sing them over again to me. Sing them over again to me. Wonderful words of life. Offer pardon and peace to all. Wonderful words of life. If we have to really check ourselves and then we are like, we overstand the love of God, because for me, that's how others look at things, right? Others say, well, when rain falls, it falls upon the house of the murderer, the rapist, the criminal, the thief, the righteous, the holy man, the doctor, the lawyer, the nurses, the farmer, it falls upon everyone's house. Anyone that plants a seed, it grows. No matter whether you just killed someone or whether you just stole something, it still grows. So the love of God is uncompromising. It's not altered, So it doesn't say, well, because you sinned yesterday, when rainfall, I won't send it upon your housetop. Or because you fell short, if you plant that seed, it won't grow. No. The love of God is not like that. It's all encompassing, forgiving, loving. So just remember that forgiveness of self is the first form of forgiveness, and learn to forgive others, and don't live in that space of hatred and animosity, and definitely give thanks for all those who call. I mean, that's all the calls we're having for tonight. Remember, I'm on at the Rastafari Ubuntu Cultural Center. Definitely this coming Thursday from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. the second edition of the Ubuntu Rastafari Cultural Center Poetry Slam, whereby you could come and you could recite your poem, chant it, sing it, do your thing, and have an opportunity to use your creativity to win $1,000. First prize, second prize $500, and third prize $250. And we are doing this because we want to stimulate the creativity of our youth. So we're not just there talking and stop crime. We're doing we're in our part. I've been doing TV programs for so long and on TV and all them type of things there. We have so many of them same youths working for us. So we've done vegan cooking competition. We've done all manners of stuff. We've done essay competitions. We've done all type of things. Right? So we're doing the poetry slam, to help our youths to come in and use their creativity, learn to channel your energy differently. And remember that if it is that you are very good in writing and reciting poems, you could make $1,000 every month. So for 12 months, you could have $12,000. Come on. So just by writing poems and just things. So it's an opportunity that you could utilize your creativity to become something great. And if it is that you repeat it every month, you have 2-3 new poems. Come on. After a year, you'll be a master. We might be seeing you on TV all around the world performing your masterpieces that you have actually produced. The masterpiece, Brother Kalam. Your masterpiece, yeah, and you have to come and perform. This is the masterpiece. So come and do your thing, and come and know that, yeah, it is an opportunity for us to help ourselves. Let no man do for you what you could do for yourself. Let no man do for you what you can do for yourself. So I give thanks for all those of you who took the time out to join us this evening on this Sunday. I know that this program was just upon giving a brief history of my story of what it is my life have been like as a young man in St. Lucia and what I went through. Yes, Goddess Ethiopia, give thanks. Master Cass. Yes, caller, blessed. Honorable, give thanks. Celestia the first. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks, my Lord. Give thanks. Give thanks. Right, give thanks. Yeah, man. It's the sky, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Give thanks. Amubeni Mosenye. Give thanks for the love and for calling out of Dominica. Give thanks for your words of love. Definitely. What I would tell the eye is that in my own personal glory is that no matter what wrong you do, there's nothing too wrong that can't get right. Nothing too crooked that can't get straight. So just do good. Just do good, and the good that you do is what that will actually take over all them bad things that you have ever done. And even Christ, who was a sinless and a faultless man, people still found reason to actually crucify him. And they chose a criminal and a murderer and a thief and a rapist over him. So it's not that we are doing good in an expectation for glory and praising from some other person, but our good that we are doing, right, is just because in our core, in our foundation, in our very essence, we are doing good for ourselves. So just keep on doing good and just go on the one to rhythm. Do good, do good, do good. So as your heart pumps through your chest and it pushes the blood through your chest to all the other parts of your physical structure, is do good, do good, do good, do good, do good, do good. For the good you do shall follow you and shall live after you. And the good that you do is not like the same person going to repay you, or the person you did good for going to bless you. Most times some other person is going to bless you. So in my own personal experience, I fully embrace my glory. I have no regrets of nothing that I have done. Right? No regrets of nothing that I have done. I fully embrace my glory, everything that I have done, because it is as a consequence of all the things that I have done, I am the Right Honorable Priest Kailash. So if I was never arrested, if I was never um, arrested for them 3 days there and then 3 other days there, right? I would have never been me. If I begin to regret and start to try to erase my whatever that I have done, no, I fully embrace my journey. I fully embrace my process, because my process have formed me, have created me, have made me who I am, and I love who I am. I do give thanks for that. So take a time out, mothers, and give your daughters and your sons a hug and tell them you love them. Take a time out, sons and daughters. Give your fathers and your mothers a hug and tell them that you love them. Brethren, like on the streets, tell your brethren that you love him. Don't wait until he pass away or something. I don't believe in that kind of a deadly world society. When you're dead, some people want to come and give you some kind of crowns and rose and this and talk nice about it. I don't like them things there. While your people are alive, show them the love. Right? So remember this coming Thursday at the Ubuntu Rastafari Cultural Center on Jeremy Street opposite the Janu Credit Union from 6 to 8. Come. All young people, elderly people, whoever you are, you have a poem. Come, let us create this kind of wholesome space
whereby our creativity can be ignited, whereby we have an opportunity to actually sow good and do good and say good and manifest good and create good, that ourselves can be in a good space, our country can be in a good space, and we could become even better people. Give thanks for all those of you that was with us tonight, and give thanks for everyone who was with us on YouTube and Facebook. Remember that is the Ubuntu Rastafari Cultural Center on Jeremy Street, and also remember to stop there at the Foot of Seven ITAL hotspot for all your wonderful needs, and also Liberty, also on Jeremy Street. Give thanks again. May the Almighty Father keep on blessing you and make His holy face shine upon your holy face. And even if your face not holy, God will still shine upon you. Give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. Blessed love. Give thanks, love. 758. Bless up Ross Alvin for me. Celestia of us. Yes, the tube. Give thanks for all those of you. Let me see if anybody bless me up there before I close off. Okay, Rico. Okay, blessings and love from Landover MD. Okay, I don't know where that is. Give thanks, love.
Blessed of Chris.
Honorable.